the Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. It's the Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. It's the Evan edition.
Welcome back to the Evan edition. Happy Sunday on this beautiful 3-day labor weekend. Zach, my friend, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I've been excited about doing this and talking to you all day. I'm having a great 3-day weekend so far.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I get so excited. I mean, the night before when I'm like, you know, I call it a set list, like we're in a band or something, but like when I'm making the set list, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to like hear Zach's thoughts about this, or like the back and forth. Like you're just kind of like playing it in your mind and it just gets you so pumped. So yeah, I'm so excited because when I was talking to you and you were like, dude, D23 is this week, and I'm like, oh, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. So
yeah,
I can't wait to get into it. We got so much to talk about from D23, you know, including Toy Story 5 details and some pictures, updates on Incredibles 3 and Coco 2, Hoppers, which is coming out in March, Doomsday footage, Star Wars, Mandalorian Grogu footage, Zootopia 2. And so we got a lot to talk about, but before we do, and also I regret because we went so fast, I forgot to do like the stages, but we'll just bear with us. There's always going to be, you know, some stuff on the fly, but before we get into everything, I know, you know, you and I just recently saw Caught Stealing.
Yes.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about it. And, you know, I know it just came out this weekend. It's only Sunday. So Zach and I are just going to give like our general thoughts and impressions. We will do a spoiler-free review and reaction just because it's so fresh. And it always bothers me when it's like just Sunday and they're like, here's everything that happened. I'm like, bro, I couldn't get to it this weekend.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I feel like a week is more fair game when it comes to spoilers, right? Like,
yeah, the second weekend, if you haven't seen it by then
then you know we'll put up a spoiler warning. But for those of you that have not seen it, do not worry because this is our spoiler-free reaction. So, without further ado, do you want to give your, you know, gentlemen go first? Do you want to give your general thoughts and consensus on the movie?
Yeah, I thought I had a great time with Caught Stealing in the theaters. I had a lot of fun. It's not what I expected it to be based on the trailers and everything, but it was still really, really strong in terms of what Darren Aronofsky does. The Black Swan, the Whale, the Wrestler. It was in that vein, but a little bit more fun than he usually has. I did think there was a little bit of missed potential for the movie to be greater than it is, but what we got was still great.
I feel the same way. I feel like, you know, above everything else, what do you want from a movie you're going to see on a Saturday? A good time in the theater. And when my wife and I were in the theater last night, I got the person behind me laughing her butt off. I got the person next to me having a great time. And then, you know, spoiler free, there is a shocking death scene. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, where actually there's several, which is awesome about this movie. But there's one where the whole audience gasped. And I was just like, yes, like people are having a really good time in the theater. And that's really what it's all about. So is it a great movie? No, it's not a great movie by any means. It's not the best of Darren Aronofsky's films, but it's a really fun time in the theater and I really enjoyed it. You know, on top of that, with when I'm hearing myself back, I always hear like, on top of that, like my voice always gets higher. I'm like, I have a funny inflection in my voice. On top of that, what I was thinking when I was in the movie was like, our main character, he gets effed up. He is very messed up throughout the entire movie. And there's something that does to an audience where your main protagonist keeps getting beaten down the whole movie, hurt, down on his luck, hopeless in many turns of the movie. And it kind of makes you feel for the guy and hope that he has a happy ending. And it really like gave me that feeling throughout the movie. Like when he kept getting beaten down time and time again, I'm like, I hope Austin Butler makes it through this. Like, I hope he gets his happy ending. And so that was something that I really like enjoyed about what Darren did through the movie, even when we're getting flashbacks to his past, because this guy has not just been beaten down throughout this entire time period that it takes place in, but also when we see these flashbacks of his past and, you know, maybe what didn't transpire or whatever happened with his career in baseball, we've seen that this has been a constant theme with the main character's life for a very long time. And so you just want this guy, Hank, Austin Butler's Hank, to win finally. And so I thought that was like a really great aspect of the movie that like kept me engaged with the main character. You know what I mean?
I agree 100% because Austin Butler was so charming in the role as well. So the writing was there where you see all these things that keep happening to this guy that seems like a decent person. Plus Austin Butler was so charming throughout the film. But also what I really liked about his performance is he's usually the too cool for school guy when he's in movies. And he doesn't really have a lot of vulnerability. He has so much vulnerability in this movie throughout. And the way he reacted to things, he was just a great leading man that you wanted to follow. And it sucked every time he tried to do the right thing, and then it led to more f-ups.
Definitely. No, I felt the same way. And, you know, it's in the trailer, but the scene where he's just like punching the sand on the beach.
Oh, man.
It's a very like Darren Aronofsky scene, it felt like. And then also like the color grading of the movie, because it does take place in the 90s, it feels very 90s. So it really like puts you in that era. And so I really enjoyed that. And I really like the relationship between him and Zoe's character. I thought that really worked for the movie, and that was really nice to see. And I love the characters. I wish we spent a little bit more time with the characters, but you know, like Liev Schreiber and Vincent D'Onofrio's Hasidic Jews were awesome, and there is some great scenes with them, and there's like some surprise turns with other characters, and you know, Benito's character is really good, and Matt Smith, and they were very good casting, like very good casting. I just wish, you know, some of it maybe seemed a little bit rushed with the characters, like, oh man, like we were just getting to know them, you know? And so I'm like, interesting. I wish we spent a little bit more time with them is how I felt it.
I agree.
And the pacing of the movie wasn't so much the issue. It was just how sporadically we were with the different characters. And if you're going to do a Guy Ritchie movie, which this is very much in the vein of a Guy Ritchie movie, I just wish, you know, we spent a little bit more time with the characters, you know, because I think of Snatch and, you know, great movie. And Brad Pitt's character is so good in it. And we don't spend too much time with him, but the time that we do spend with him, I feel like we really know the character. And it didn't feel that way with these characters in Caught Stealing, if that makes sense.
No, it totally makes sense. And when I did my review of this movie, that was part of my issue. And I think a bigger issue with movies overall, I think every movie is now trying to be under 2 hours. And it works for some. Some movies need to be short. Some movies need to be longer. And I feel like a film like this, where you're going to have wacky characters, an intense moment, you're going from place to place, we're trying to get attached to all these people, you need to give it time because there's a lot going on. The tone of this movie shifts a lot. Like it gets really intense and brutal, and then it goes to laughter. And I don't think that each of it it was all crammed in under 2 hours. And
Right.
you said it right. Like, we didn't get enough time. I didn't think we got enough time with anybody, especially Vincent D'Onofrio and Lee Schreiber. I
Who are my
definitely,
favorites.
they were so good. And Matt Smith was hilarious. Even Bad Bunny. I thought he was doing a lot of cool things in the movie in terms of feeling menacing, even though he doesn't have a menacing figure. But we didn't get a lot of time with him either. So, yeah, I think like the people in the bar also, I feel like they were kind of fun. And I wish we'd have got to see his relationship with his coworkers. And yeah, I totally agree. That's like the biggest fault of the film is just the length of the movie, not the pacing. I think the pacing was really good. I felt like it was moving, but then the movie is short, so it's moving so fast that like,
I'm like, oh, I want to spend a little bit more time with him. Like, what?
Yeah. Even like with action sequences, I'm like, I wanted this action sequence to kind of go a little longer because they're set so well and so fun. But then, like, as you're really getting engaged, it stops.
100%. I feel like, with something like Baby Driver, when the action scenes are happening, we are with them for the long run. Yeah. And then with this movie, we're like getting into it. We're like, oh, here we go. Like, and then it stops and then it goes again and then it stops. And it wasn't so much the pacing with the movies. It was just the pieces of the movies. It felt like you could add a little bit more in there really to keep the momentum going, but also like make for a really great entertaining scene. And it just seemed like he wanted to like cut it and keep it really tight, and it worked for him, and it also worked against him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think once I heard that mandate that Marvel gave to Marvel movies trying to be under 2 hours, I'm noticing, and I think that it's across like studios. I think a lot of studios want films to be shorter for the TikTok brain because they think that also,
if it's shorter, you can get more screening time. Exactly.
So, man, you just like, I want to compare it to a film like Splitsville, which is a comedy, which comedies are usually like 90 minutes, maybe a little bit over that. That film was like an hour and 40 minutes, and it needed the time. It didn't need to be short like a regular comedy. And I feel like if you're going to do a crime thriller that also is comedic, it needs to be over 2 hours. It can't be an hour and 50 minutes.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, my wife and I, we actually watched this Netflix movie, Old Dads, directed by Bill Burr. And that was like a hour 47. And it didn't seem overly long because comedies are generally short, but for what the movie demanded story-wise, it made perfect sense that it was this amount of time. And so, yeah, I think that mandate is just because what we've talked about in the past, people aren't going to the movies as much. And so they need to maximize money as much as they can. And that means more showings, and more showings means we need to have shorter movies. And so it's like, dude, like,
but is it working though?
Yeah. Is it working? Just
because Caught Stealing only made $3 million. So tons of showings, but no one's going.
Look at Oppenheimer. Just make a good movie.
Yeah.
And the people will come. You know what I mean? Like, yes, it had the Barbenheimer thing, but if it wasn't a good movie, there'd be no Barbenheimer.
Yeah. No, it would just been Barbie.
100%. Exactly.
There's a roundtable of directors where they were talking about mandates and lengths of films and things like that. And I think it was Denis Villeneuve said, it's not about the length of the movie in real time. It's about how long the movie feels while the person is watching it. It's a 100%. Difference. So a movie can be 3 hours, but can feel like an hour and 30 because of how engaged the person is with the film. So if you make these engaging movies that something is always happening, whether it's really strong emotional, really strong laughing, really strong action, you can make your movie almost any length. Almost. Like, obviously there's limits, but you can almost do anything. You can make a 2 hour, 40-minute movie where people are locked in and sitting there and really, really interested in what's going on. You just got to make sure your film is edited well. And I think that Caught Stealing, you could feel chunks of the movie were taking out for budget reasons or things like that. Like even in the beginning of the movie, this is not a spoiler, but like he walked down somewhere to put something up and then he kind of just cut and then he was cleaning. And I was like, that felt choppy. You could tell that like there was some scenes of him more
There was
one
more
take.
like bar, like engaging with like the bar patrons, but it was like, nope, it's done. He's cleaning the
Yeah,
bar. They're gone. It's like,
yeah.
oh, like
And it was
you want,
edited in a way where you couldn't notice that was the point. Like you could edit in the edit, you see, oh yeah, they definitely cut this short because they were like, yeah, let's make this movie shorter.
oh yeah, good job. My little brother actually just commented and said he just rewatched Uncut Gems, and the pacing makes a 2.5 hour film feel like an hour and a half film. And I
I agree.
completely agree. That is the beauty of good editors.
Yeah,
And back in the day when there wasn't a demand for studios needing to be shorter to make more money, because like the theaters are hurting, like they really are, and box office is hurting. So now we're seeing the effects. So is it a great movie? No. But is it a bad movie? Absolutely not.
not even close.
Not even close. I had a great time in the theater.
Me too.
People around me, like I was just like, my wife and I came out of it like that was a really fun time in the theater. And so it's
Yeah.
like that's what you want, and that's what we got. So I'll definitely see it when it comes out on streaming. You know what
Me
I
too.
mean? So
It's gonna be on Netflix.
yeah, definitely. So all right, with that down, I wanted to get into this. So it has been 5 years since the passing of Chadwick Boseman.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to honor Chadwick because honestly, he was one of my favorite up and coming actors. At the time, you know, he was on this spree of great performances with, you know, Jackie and James Brown, and, you know, not even the Black Panther of it all, but like even in the Five Bloods, it wasn't a great movie to me, but his performance in that movie was so good. And then Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, it wasn't a great movie, but his performance was just so good. And so I just wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about Chadwick and just like what he meant to film and cinema, and how his memory is going to live on in these amazing performances.
Yeah.
And then also, I wanted to pick your brain a little bit about what the MCU might have looked like if Chadwick didn't pass away. And I know that's a huge question. So before you get into that, because I can't wait to hear your thoughts, I just want to know, you know, what are some standout roles that you really loved about Chadwick? And also had to get this bad boy out because this actually, I got this on the last Oakland A's game ever. They were selling it outside, like secondhand, you know, and I was like, I've wanted that for so long, and now it's a lot cheaper than what it was. And this sits on my nightstand next to me. It glows in the dark. I still need a nightlight. No, it keeps me up. But I love this bad boy. Like the A's and Black Panther. Oh man,
that's amazing. That's so funny because I have a Black Panther vinyl clock on my wall. I would have took it down and showed it, and it looks so cool.
That's awesome.
Obviously, Black Panther is one of the most important MCU films and one of the most important modern films, especially for someone that is African American. After that film came out, it kind of proved that we can be in big blockbusters and they can achieve things overseas. And Chadwick Boseman was a big part of that. That film would have been very different if he didn't fight for them to have African accents. They wanted them to have English accents. Mm-hmm. That would have been terrible. They wanted them to not have the traditional African clothing. That would have been terrible. It was a lot of stuff that Disney was like, yeah, we can do it like this to make it more accessible. He was like, no, that's not the point. So it's not only about the fact that he's a phenomenal actor, it's that him being an advocate to make sure things were authentic. I think that's really, really important that he tried to make everything that he was in very authentic, and also shouting out people who helped him along the way. A lot of actors act like they did it on their own, but he was able to talk about how Denzel and Viola Davis and these people helped him out and tell other actors about these opportunities that they can get, you know? And, you know, 21 Bridges is a film that I like that he was in. Get On Up, he was incredible. 42, he's incredible. I like The Five Bloods, and I thought he was great in that. Even in like something like Marshall, I think he was really good as Thurgood Marshall. And he was 100%. Just starting. He was just starting.
He was just getting started. Like, you could see the rumblings of like, oh, Oscar baby, like, here we go.
Yeah.
Like, next 5 years. And
1000%. And I think he was going to lead the way to a lot of great projects, the way Denzel does. And I think that baton was getting ready to get passed. You know, if Denzel was really going to be in Black Panther 3 across from Chadwick, that would have blew the world apart in terms of performance and just the fact that these two legends were in there. I love Chadwick. I think the loss of him affects cinema a lot in terms of the way diversity is seen and how diverse movies are being made now, because Black Panther 2 didn't make another $1 billion. People are like, oh, now we got to kind of take the foot off the wheel.
Yeah.
His loss is great. And he was just a great person. Like, I've never heard a bad thing about him. Every time you've seen him, he talked really well about like strong topical things, and he was just a wonderful performer.
It just, the announcing of his death, it really messed all of us up because it was so surprising. And he was such like a good-hearted person that he didn't want to burden anyone with his struggle with cancer, so much so that he was filming through these big Avengers movies and not saying a word. And then, the internet came after him because he was super skinny, and still he's not going to say anything because it's nobody's business. And just that's the type of person that he was. Like, this is his struggle. He's not, and he's like, I don't want people to feel sorry for me. Like, that's not what this is about. This is about the artwork and the people that I'm working with and the creators. And it's just like, there just isn't anyone like him, man.
Yeah, the classiness.
And when it happened, my wife and I were so shocked. And I remember, we have a Christmas ornament, a Black Panther Christmas ornament that we got right after his passing, that we have on our tree, that reminds us of him every year, where we get to talk about him. And even though, I like the Five Loves, I do. It's not one of my favorite Spike Lee films because he's done so many great ones, and I can't wait to see High and Low, Highest to Lowest. But his performance in that was like gut wrenching, and it was so beautiful. And then in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, it was also another one where I'm like, this is what we're gonna miss, is like these transformative roles that like make you feel like what they're feeling. And it's just such a rare thing. And there's great actors, and there's great actors of color. But what he was doing for the culture and for cinema in general, it's just such a huge setback. And I think that's why we felt it so hard, because we saw the trajectory. Yeah. And I know, especially with Ryan Coogler, there was a lot of films with those two together that I think we were in store for.
1000%.
And who knows, like, maybe Sinners was going to be Chadwick, like I who's to say?
The plan was it was supposed to be Michael B. Jordan and Chadwick were supposed to play brothers. It wasn't supposed to be twins. Exactly. That would have been incredible.
It gives me chills, like, just talking about it. And so, on 5 years, it's like, wow, 5 years have gone by, and it still feels like we saw him yesterday on the screen. And
when you said it was the 5-year anniversary, I was like, already? Like, it happened during the pandemic? That's insane.
And that's the power of Chadwick, where we still feel his presence after 5 years, that it feels like no time has passed at all, because like it feels like your brother or someone that you've always known, or that like will always be with you.
And I think his presence is missed so much. I think when you talked about that, us being big MCU comic book fans, we miss his presence in the MCU so much. And it's also always a constant conversation on the internet about recasting T'Challa, so it always reverts back to a conversation of Chadwick Boseman, what he wanted, what he didn't wanted, how much he meant to the role, how it affected the actors, and these actors always bringing it up and how they feel, because they just feel it even closer than we do because they worked with the man.
100%.
So he's always a topic, or he's always on our mind throughout the year. So it doesn't feel like it's been a long time because we're always thinking about him.
And something that I also think about a lot, with the MCU in general, everyone always talks about like, well, who's the leader now? Is it, Sam Wilson? Is it, Yelena? And it's like, darn, dude, because if he was here, there would be no question that it would be Chadwick's Black Panther leading the movie. And then on top of that, to have a black man leading a huge cinematic universe would just be one of the most beautiful things in cinema, in history, arguably. And so I'm like, the fact that we missed out on something like that is something that really hurts, because like, as someone that champions people of color, especially representation on screen, which I think there's a lot of toxicity with like, someone of color can't lead a big blog, or we shouldn't put someone of color in this because it won't make as much money, which I think is extremely toxic way of thinking, which a lot of studios, most think, to force their hand because Black Panther made so much, and then Black Panther 2 would have made, I guarantee, another $1 billion. Then to be like, haha, we just showed you that it can, and now he's leading Avengers, Doomsday, or whatever you have you. It just would have been such a nice win for the history of Black people in cinema and people of color in cinema. Usually. And so I think to miss out on that is such a pain in the butt.
And he was so good that those toxic people weren't even having those conversations.
It would have quieted them all down. And there was always going to be toxic people.
Of course.
For the
it was so small.
Part, they would have had nothing to stand on, because the proof is in the pudding, and Chadwick would have been leading the charge. And then on top of that, to see Chad interact as Black Panther, with Yelena, with Spider-Man, with Sam Wilson as Captain America, and what that means as a Black man taking on the mantle of Captain America, and having Chadwick's Black Panther tell him what that means to him.
That conversation would have been incredible.
There is so many amazing conversations that would have been had, and there still can be with another Black Panther, but with Chadwick, it just and to see his journey from Black Panther 1, in Infinity War, and to see it transpire through the different episodes of the MCU, it just would have been such a beautiful payoff. And it's such a sad thing that we will not get that. Darn.
100% agree. I think that Sam being Cap would have been more accepted if Chadwick was still T'Challa. I think it would have been easier because they would have been like, okay, we have this character that's an original Black character that's not taking on a mantle of a white character, that's strong and powerful, leads a country, and then so it's okay for us to accept the fact that we have this other Black character now taking on this mantle, deservingly so. A lot of people say that other people should have had it, but I think when you look at the MCU, it made sense for Sam to get it. I think it would have just been less complaints, and I think they would have been a little bit more. They would have paid attention a little bit more to Brave New World in terms of the way it was executed, and the quality of it, if Chadwick was around, because I think it was like, we can't mess this stuff up because we need this character to not interact with this character. But if people don't watch this movie, then no one cares. So,
and I also think, to your point too, using Chadwick as Black Panther within the MCU moving forward, it's something that like champions Black actors and actors of color within the MCU, but also it also transcends race, in that like we are now just seeing a leader that will recruit Yelena, and and it's just like, it's someone where it's like, he's Black Panther, but it doesn't have to be someone that is just black in this Wakanda universe. You know what I mean? It's someone that is the representation of Marvel Studios. And that is something that I think I will always think about that we missed.
Yeah, I agree.
Ah, man. So, Chadwick, we're thinking about you, bud, and we always will. And they will recast T'Challa, and I think they should, because it's a very important character. Yeah. And I think it'll be another way to honor Chadwick Boseman's legacy, because how he represented that all the way back to Civil War is really how I always envisioned what Black Panther would be like on the big screen. And to be that first representation, that matters, and we will never forget about that.
Nope. Definitely not. Big shoes to fill for whoever takes over. Or if it is still just Shuri and we have to wait for T'Challa Jr. to grow up. I really like Shuri in Wakanda Forever as a character. I think there's a lot of space for her to grow into that. And the whole, like, her trying to live up to Killmonger and T'Challa at the same time is very interesting. But yeah, whoever is Black Panther, whether it's a T'Challa recast or just Shuri taking over permanently, it's just big shoes to fill acting wise, because Chadwick is so incredible.
And you know, regardless of Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, you know, comparing it to the first one or not being as good, what they did in that movie to honor Chadwick and his legacy was an extremely hard and difficult thing for everyone on that movie, but it was insanely beautiful in the way that it honored him. And so to have that, whatever your opinion is about, you know, if it's a good movie or not, I don't care, because the way that they honored Chad, using that, I'm like calling Chad like it's like my buddy, using that movie to honor him, they did such a beautiful job. And so I'm very happy that we'll always have that, because that was their mourning of such a powerful actor and human being.
Yeah.
So
100% agree.
Oh man, I'm sorry, you guys. I know that's a hard one to start with, but it's 100% necessary, because we're going to keep talking about him at, you know, next year, the 10-year, whatever it is. I'm never going to forget him, because he meant so much to so many people in so many different ways. And his legacy will live on 100%.
Oh, 100%.
All right, guys, with that down, let's get into the D23 announcements that we saw yesterday. And there was a lot. There was a lot of announcements, but what I really want to get into is Toy Story 5 to start with. You know, Toy Story 1 through 3 is arguably one of the best trilogies in cinema history. And then 4, you know, was mentioned, and we're like, really? Like, why are you going to do a 4th one? Like, come on. And then 4th came out, and it was really good. It was really good. And it was a great ending for Woody and his love story with Bo Peep. And then we didn't hear anything for a while. And then we heard there's going to be a Toy Story 5. And we're like, dude, like, they're really just hammering this into the ground per se. Yeah. But the last 4 have been really good. And so it's kind of hard to argue with another one coming out. And so we've gotten some details, and this comes to us from the Direct. They say 2026 will also bring a legacy sequel for Pixar's first movie, with Toy Story 5 set to be the company's summer blockbuster next year. Written and directed by Pixar veteran Andrew Stanton, most of the core Toy Story cast is expected to return to their roles, including Tom Hanks' Woody, Tim Allen's Buzz Lightyear, Joan Cusack's Jessie, Rex, you know, Ham, all the beloveds. And the plot for Toy Story 5 will center on a theme of toys versus technology, as the young Bonnie from Toy Story 3 and 4 becomes enthralled with a new tech-based toy. This will lead the original gang to a new crisis as they try to figure out their place in a changing world that may be moving past physical kids' toys. Toy Story 5 is being prepped for release on June 19th, 2026. And so we got some photos. We got, Bonnie under the covers with her tablet. This tablet is going to be called Lily Pad. And then we see the toys kind of seeing Bonnie move on with the tech of it all and them getting left behind in the dust. And so I want to ask you, one, what do you think of them making another Toy Story movie? And two, what do you think of this premise?
So I was not really Story 4 or 5 to be made because 3 was such a great ending. And they made 4. I heard mixed things about it. I haven't gotten to check it out yet, but I'm definitely going to watch it before 5 comes out. And then I was like, okay, well, those mixed things about it after we had such a great 3. But then when I heard the premise for 5, I was like, okay, I'm down for more of these movies to come out if they can make relevant topics like this in this film that kids get to see. Because we were going to talk about the dangers of technology and how the lack of toys it has affected people's imagination and critical thinking skills. And if we can get into that, but in a fun way, this movie will be worth it. And having the original cast comes back and all that is going to be really, really fun. So I think I'm super down for Toy Story 5. If they can really nail these themes, make it digestible, and make it really fun.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a great way in. And the day and age that we're in where, you and I have worked with kids and we work with children, and you can see it. You can see a big difference in them, not really being able to use their imagination and sustain like a play day of just imagining and using toys and stuff like that. And I think that is a big effect from growing up in the iPad tablet generation. And so to use that as an into Toy Story 5, I think is a really smart idea.
Very smart.
On top of that, Andrew Stanton is just such an OG Pixar director and writer. And to have him leading the charge, I think you really couldn't have a better person to direct this film. And so I think it's in really good hands for the people that are worried about like someone else, taking on the charge again with another Toy Story, and, the fourth one being kind of mixed because it wasn't John Lasseter. I think this is a great person to spearhead Toy Story 5. And so I think that should put people's worries to rest.
Yeah.
And then also I wanted to get into a little bit of the tidbits that they showed at D23 because they showed the introduction, or at least the first few minutes to the movie.
Oh, nice.
And so this comes to us also from the direct. They say Buzz Lightyear will be the center of a wild twist during the opening moments of Disney and Pixar's Toy Story 5. 3 decades after Toy Story began, Pixar's flagship movie, the franchise will now continue in its 5th movie centered on Woody, Buzz Lightyear, and Andy Davis's old crew of children's playthings. I did not know Andy's last name was Davis.
Me neither.
And so someone at Direct was in attendance, and they pretty much got to see how the film started. And the scene started with Tim Allen's Buzz Lightyear in a POV shot, opening his eyes and looking at a palm tree overhead. Seeming lost, this Buzz sees a box for another Buzz model labeled High Tech Edition before running off. Entering a shipwreck shipping crate filled with unopened action figures, the Buzzes are all activated. They march to the edge of the island and realize they are stranded, dropping their heads in unison and feeling defeated. Next, the army of Buzzes assembles at night around a fire, and one looks up at the sky and says, "Star." The rest of them reply, "Command." Before the entire group starts chanting, Rendezvous with Star Command. Rendezvous with Star Command. As this chant goes on, the group builds a massive raft and uses it to head out into the ocean while gazing up at the stars. So
Sounds fun.
that is what they got to see yesterday. And so it sounds like a crazy way to open the movie.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, the past movies have opened with kind of the child's imaginations, whether it's, a old like cowboy steam train and the characters are playing with it. So it could be Bonnie's imagination, some kind of lost scenario or something like that. But
yeah,
I'm sure, based on the pictures, the animation is just incredible.
it
So
looks insane.
It looks insane. What do you think of an opening like this?
I think this might not be the thing, but I think what this opening could be is them doing this on their own because Bonnie's not playing with them anymore, and them having to do something and go on adventures for themselves because they've just been stuck in the toy box for so long. I could see them kind of doing something like that, and then it cuts to them like dropping, and then Bonnie walking in with the tablet and they're kind of like stepping over them. I think that would execute the point of the movie really, really, really well.
That is fantastic. You're right. It plays on what we already know with the imagination of the opening scenes in the past, but it's like, now the toys have to imagine for themselves because Bonnie's preoccupied with Lily Pad.
Yeah. We could even have like while she's looking, Lily Pad looks down at them and go and laugh or something like that. That would be.
Do we know who is voicing Lily Pad? I didn't see that in my research from yesterday.
I'm gonna Google it and see. Okay. Toy Story 5,
take
Lily.
A look at that, and then while you look at that, they also introduce Smarty Pants, who is voiced by Conan O'Brien.
Anna Faris is doing Lily Pad. That's great.
This is a great comeback for Lily Pad. Because Anna Faris, we haven't seen her in such a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's great for her. Okay, that's a.
And she's about to be in Scary Movie 6. I think that's what it is. The
comeback. Here we go.
Yeah, the Wayne brothers are taking the franchise back over and doing a new trilogy. So yeah, I'm excited for that.
Fantastic. And then, so yeah, we got Smarty Pants. This is Conan O'Brien. Kind of looks a little bit like Conan O'Brien.
It does. That's kind of funny that it does.
So we got Smarty Pants. We got a little bit of tidbits of the opening. Anna Faris as the main antagonist of the film. So let us know what you guys think. Does this sound like something that could pique your interest about a Toy Story 5? Do you think Toy Story should be kaput and just live on its own as a great series of movies? Drop a comment below. Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Something else that we got into a lot was Pixar is on a roll with some movies. And so they got some original movies. One of those that they gave a little bit of tidbits on was a movie called Gatto. Gatto is the next original film after Hoppers and is directed by Enrico Casarosa, who previously directed Luca in 2021. First unveiled at the 2025 Annecy International Animation Festival, Pixar will travel to Venice, Italy, centering on a black cat named Nero, who starts questioning whether he has lived the right lives. He becomes indebted to a local feline mob boss, which leads to an unexpected friendship that could help him figure out his true purpose. Gatto will come to movie theaters on June 18th, 2027. What do you think about this plot of Gatto and about this image that we got from D23?
Yeah, I've seen this image, I think maybe a couple months ago.
D23.
Yeah, it leaked a couple months ago, they said that the movie was Gatto, but there was no other like details, right? Like we didn't know what it was about. The whole hype was that the animation just looked so unique. And it
It does.
continues. This looks like a painting. This looks like it was hand painted by someone to sell. This doesn't look like an animated movie, so it looks absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Different from
Looks
like what
real.
Wild Robot looks like, and kind of those movies that kind of look hand painted. This actually
Yeah.
looks like a painting brought to life. I think the premise sounds really, really fun and can have some cool themes in there, because a lot of animated stuff is missing like themes that we used to have in all the animated parts. Pixar is good for always doing that, so I'm down for that premise. I just love that they're going to this other country, kind of like what Luca did as well, was in a different country. Coco as well, so we're going to be seeing a little bit more of the Italian flavor in here. I'm down.
Yeah, I think, and because of the time with the pandemic, when it came to Luca and coming out on Disney Plus and Bob
Yeah.
Chapek's, stupid mandates, I think it ruined what would have been a really great movie to see in the theaters, because I really think Luca deserved a wide release to a wide audience, because it is a beautiful film and it had something to say. And I think the best part about Pixar movies is that they're not just an animated movie just for animated movie's sake, but they really have something to say. And people can argue it, but Luca is in itself a queer love story. It really is in a lot of ways. And I think it was a daring thing to do. Yes, they didn't outright and say it, because
It's Disney.
extremely hard to do that with being under the Disney umbrella. But it was very clear what this movie was really about, and coming out and falling in love with someone of the same sex, and this coming of age story of belonging, and what does that mean? And it was such, and the director Luca did such a beautiful job in allowing us to not hit us over the head with the themes.
Yeah,
and
it was subtle.
It was very subtle. And so for him to be at the charge of this, and for a cat to live all these lives and wonder, this existential crisis, like, did I really live? And to have this unassuming friendship with the head of this Italian mob, and really understand, maybe I did, or maybe I did have a purpose being here. It's such an adult theme, and it's such a beautiful thing to explore that we haven't seen in an animated film in a lot of ways, or in a long time.
I was going to say, it reminds me a little bit of Puss in Boots a little bit.
I was going to say Puss in Boots, and I think Soul touches on stuff like that. And so I didn't want to take away from those movies, but I think this is a great way in with a furry friend right here.
Yeah.
And so I really think this is going to be a fun movie. And maybe Elio took a misstep because it tried something and maybe it didn't work for a lot of people. I can't judge it because I need to see it for myself, and I will when it comes out on Disney Plus. But I think this sounds more on brand with Pixar, and this is something I'm really excited for. And so I can't wait, man. I mean, Pixar to me is one of the greatest studios of all time.
How can they not be? First of all, they're the greatest animated studio of all time. There's like no doubt about that at all right now, right? And honestly, if Chapek band-aids didn't happen, they would have been on an incredible run right now with Soul, Luca,
Turning Red, or was that Disney?
Turning Red was Pixar as well. I think Encanto was Disney.
Okay.
And Raya the Last Dragon also was Disney. And Inside Out 2, Elemental, Elemental ended up doing well, but it started off.
It took a while, but that was a great rom-com
movie.
That's how you do an animated rom-com and make it make sense and make it feel like something you haven't seen before, but something that felt familiar at the same time. So if you haven't seen Elemental,
see it.
You are missing out. Go on Disney Plus and watch that bad boy, because you will get teary-eyed and it will tug at your heartstrings. 100%.
It got me multiple times.
Woo!
Especially that last 30 minutes. I was like, what are y'all doing to me?
100%. The best thing about these Pixar movies is that it transcends age. It is not for kids. Or it's not just for kids. It is not just for adults. It is for everyone. And the longer that you grow up with these movies, it will start to hit you in different ways because now
1000.
you are having those life experiences. And I think that is one of the best parts about Pixar movies and why they just keep winning after another, because it grows with you and it feels what you're feeling as you have those transformative moments in your life.
They make true family films. Like some
Yes.
movies are called family films, but it's really just films to entertain your kid and you can kind of laugh a little bit as your adult. But
Yep.
they make films that adults laugh at in the moment, kids laugh at in the moment and love, teenagers love, whatever age you are, most likely you can love a Pixar film. And as you get older, even if you're like my age or a 40-year-old, maybe when you turn 50 and you watch the movie, there's experiences that you had, and you're like, oh, it was in this damn movie, and I can see it now. My parent passed away, so I know how that character feels. So they make true family movies.
They 100% do. They 100% do. And it is hands down the best studio in the game.
Yeah,
And I hope Disney understands that, because there's been cuts in the past few years or
yeah,
putting things on Disney Plus, and of course there was different, COs and stuff like that, but
yeah.
you need to respect the artists and the creators, because the work that they're doing is second to none, and it
Mm-hmm.
makes a huge difference. And if it's going to be under the Disney umbrella, you need to allow it to continue to breathe on its own, because it's so special to
Yeah,
the fabric of cinema and of movies.
100% agree.
All right, we got a little bit more Pixar stuff, so I want to get through this, and then I really want to get to the Doomsday stuff, because I honestly haven't really looked at it a lot, because I wanted to be fresh when I talk about it with you. So
Gotcha.
before we get into that, I just want to say they talked a little bit more about Hoppers.
Okay.
Hoppers will be in theaters March 6, 2026. So this is officially the next Pixar movie that will be in theaters. It is directed by Daniel Chong, who takes on his first Pixar film after serving as the company's senior creative team since 2020. This movie includes Piper Curda, Bobby Moynihan, and John Hamm. Hoppers will tell the story of a group of scientists who invent a way to hop human minds into lifelike animal bodies. This leads to a teenager named Mabel using that technology to embody a robot beaver and take down a construction company's plot to destroy a local animal habitat. Very a lot going on within a Pixar movie, but
Yeah.
it goes to what we're saying again of adult themes or just adult situations that can speak to what a child goes through as well in his upbringing. And so what an interesting movie. What do you think about this plot of Hopper? I know they showed some footage as well that we've seen. And then what do you think about this being the next Pixar movie we're going to see in theaters?
Yeah, I think the premise speaks to everything you were talking about before. A little bit of what we talked about Toy Story, and then what we were talking about with Pixar. The child imagination. If as a child you're watching this, of course I would want to hop inside of a machine and run around, right? Immediately that's an end for a kid. That's not an end for an adult, but it's an end for a kid. But as an adult thinking about hopping into a machine and taking down a corporation, that's an end for an adult immediately, right?
Right.
And I've seen the trailer for this movie. It came on. I forgot what animated movie I watched in theaters recently, but it came on and it looks really, really cute. It looks really, really fun. I'm surprised they released the trailer so early because the movie comes out next year, March.
Yeah, I was like, wow, they just dropped it like that.
Yeah, no hype. It was just in the theaters and online. I was like, okay, but I like the. It kind of feels like Wild Robot a little bit in terms of like the corporation making robots, doing all this technology and trying to protect the not humanity, but the wildlife. And in the trailer, there was a lot of things she didn't understand about wildlife and the circle of life, right? Like there was a bear attacking a beaver. She stopped the beaver from getting killed, and the bear was upset And then the beaver was like, "Why did you save me?" And then he was like, "What do you mean?" He said, "That's the rules of the forest. I didn't move fast enough. He gets me." And
Dang,
then
what a lesson.
she can't
Early
understand it as a
on.
human, because humans is like, we try to survive, right? Like
Right.
that's it. There doesn't matter what the circumstances are. So I think that is a really interesting thing to tackle in the
Wow.
movie.
That's great. That is really cool. Yeah, I think we're in for a treat.
Yeah.
And this makes me really excited. From what I've seen, it looks a little bonkers, but just the plot in general sounds like this could just have been a movie that's not animated. You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
way that they played, it's like this could have been a live action movie
This could
for
have been a
all
sci-fi
we
live
know.
action film. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm really excited just because I love when they do this and Pixar just continues to think outside the box.
Yeah.
All right. Before we get out of here with the Pixar stuff, I just want to mention, and we're going to get to the Disney animation stuff a little bit later because I really want to get on that Doomsday train. I just want to mention, they briefly mentioned a little bit just about Incredibles 3 dropping around 2028, and then Coco still, it was initially given that 2029 release date. So they say 2028 and beyond, we will see Incredibles 3 and Coco 2. So they're still focused on these legacy properties, these sequels to these, award-winning, fantastic films. So they are coming. They're still putting us on the radar that don't worry, like we are writing, they're working, no plot details have been released, but we are going to get them. So before we get out of here with the Pixar stuff, I just want to ask you, since we are getting Incredibles 3, since it was the best Fantastic Four movie before this past year, what is something that you hope for with the Incredibles 3?
Yeah. So it's hard to answer because I've only recently watched the first Incredibles early this year. I was late on that train.
For the first time?
The first time. Yes.
Wow.
And I was late on that train, and I watched it with Kenny Sparks. Of people who know people in the community of YouTubers, he's my partner in crime, and I absolutely loved it. Right, like I loved that movie. It was so good.
So you see what I'm saying, right? About it being the best Fantastic Four movie before this past year.
1000%. The family dynamic, not the family dynamics. I don't know why I couldn't say that properly. And everything, even the animation holds up. I haven't seen Incredibles 2 yet. I definitely want to see the second one. I heard it's not as good as the first one, but I still want to see it because I might like it.
I think you will.
I think what I want to see is them get them in like a more modern setting. I feel like the Incredibles feel very like in an old school setting. It'd be nice to see the kids growing up a little bit, the parents dealing with the fact that they're aging and maybe not as needed. Maybe
the internet
needed anymore, and they have to deal.
Your internet cut out a little bit. The sound a little bit.
Oh. Am I back? Am I good?
Yeah. The last thing we heard was them aging them up a little bit, both the parents and the children.
Yeah, and maybe populating the world more with more competent superheroes, so they have to struggle with the fact that maybe they don't need the Incredibles anymore, and how that dynamic would work out. I think that would be a really cool, kind of like what the deconstruction of the characters. I know that like 10 years ago that was the big thing, but I think it would be cool for the Incredibles to hop on that train.
I really like that, and I think that'd be a really cool way in. I think you need to see Incredibles 2, because if Incredibles 1, our through was Mr. Incredible, our through for Incredibles 2 is Elastigirl, and just him at home with the kids and her having a career and getting back out in the spotlight as a hero. That's what the second one is about. And so I really think the third one needs to be about the kids. And I think aging them up is a must, because there's so much story you can play with about what it means to be a teenager as a hero, or now that heroes are accepted, what does your future look like? Does it mean you have to be a hero? Is that what you need to do because that's what your parents were and that's what you need to follow? And so I think legacy is a big thing that could take the main stage in an Incredibles 3, but I really think aging up the characters would be a really wise decision for more in-depth storytelling. And so I hope they do that. But I really think if you do Incredibles 3 right, this could go down as one of the best superhero trilogies of all time, because it was an Oscar nominated film, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And so I believe most people really enjoyed it. It was a very long wait between the two. So maybe that's what rubbed people the wrong way, that, when people wait so long, they expect more because they've been waiting so long and they built it up in their heads. Yep. But for me personally, I think this was a great follow-up to the first one. And it was a really enjoyable movie. And so I think to close it out, you should do just a great movie about legacy and what that means for the children as they're growing up. And if they do it right, this could be a really, really arguably one of the best superhero trilogies of all time, in my opinion. So we'll see, but I'm really excited. And then for Coco 2, I want to know, what would you want to see from Coco 2?
So this is another blind spot. I've never seen Coco. I know. Zach, I got to see Coco.
And you like animated films. You are
an animated
lover. Look at your
animated films.
Miles back there.
Miles, Super Mario. There's animated films here. I love animated films. For whatever reason, there's a bunch of Pixar films that I missed out on that I need to check out. Like Up, I haven't seen yet. I haven't seen Wall-E. There was like a time period where I just was not seeing them. I've really gotten into animated films again recently that are not anime, and I think that's what it is. I think I wasn't watching American animated films. I think that's what it was. But so I gotta watch Coco because people rave about. I've never heard one bad thing about that movie.
My wife and I, my wife is Mexican. Her family's from Mexico. And, at the time there was this thing that, Mexicans were really nervous that this was not going to represent them in the right light, or that it was going to be a mockery of them and their culture. And, I'm not Mexican, but I am married to one and married into a family of Mexicans and Mexican Americans. And I can say, based on their reaction and what I've seen, this is something that is a badge of pride for them, that Coco is a Mexican movie through and through and a great representation. And it's a movie that Erica and I watch on Cinco de Mayo and Dias de los Muertos. And so it's something that my wife and we watch on, even though, it's not related to Cinco de Mayo. It is such a Mexican movie that it's such a great way to honor Mexican heritage and Mexican culture, especially the Day of the Dead. And so it is a fantastic movie. When I was in theaters, I saw it by myself, actually, and I was crying. The people around me were crying. It was such a beautiful moment in the theater. And so I highly recommend it. Let me ask you, what is your favorite American animated movie of all time?
Disney Hercules. That's in my top 5 favorite films of all time. I love that movie.
I love that movie. I love that soundtrack.
I think it introduced me to the hero's journey. My God, I love it.
It is Collector. Yeah, we do have Mexican food when we watch it on Cinco de Mayo or the Day of the Dead. We do. I would say I love that movie, and I want a live action remake of Hercules, the animated movie, not a remake or like a live action Hercules movie. I want you to have those songs in it
Yeah.
because those songs make the movie.
Yeah.
And I forgot their names, but you know, the girls on the vase, you know, on every vase. They narrate the film so well. And if you don't have the muses, if you don't have them singing and narrating the movie, that is a huge mistake. So please make a live action Disney's animated Hercules movie because, man, I love that one too.
So that's happening. There is a live action Disney
I know, but
Hercules.
get on it.
But I think the thing is, it went from, so we've had mixed reactions to the remakes, and whatnot. All of them have made money for the most part, but there's still a lot of mixed reactions. And I think Disney's trying to, because of what happened with Mufasa, is trying to find different ways to find maybe a different view. So I'm hearing that the Hercules movie is now turning into a Hades movie. So they're going to tell the same story, but it's going to be from Hades' point of view instead of Hercules' point of view.
I don't like that just because, you know, with Maleficent, like that was a cool way in, but that is not a Sleeping Beauty movie. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I guess I would have to see, you know, like you never know until you see it, right?
Yeah.
And who they cast as Hades, you know,
that's important.
If it's Tom Hiddleston,
really great character.
Go, you know.
Oh, he would murder that role. Oh my God.
You know what I mean? If it's someone like that, like, you know, whoever they cast, it needs to be a banger.
Yeah.
So that's a great way in, but you know, that journey, and then Danny DeVito, you know, in it, and in that camaraderie and that team was just, it was so beautiful. And man, that makes me sad, but if it's good, all sadness goes away. You know what I mean? Just make a good movie and the people will come.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. So, all right, let's get into some Doomsday, brother. We got to get into it because they gave us a good amount. So we finally got some information about Avengers Doomsday. We got a new logo that they showed at D23. And then we also got the Russo brothers and Paul Rudd. So let's get into it. This comes to us from the Direct. They say Avengers Doomsday's filmmakers are preparing fans for Marvel's ultimate multiversal team-up, which will feature X-Men, Fantastic Four, Wakandans, I like that they included that, the new Avengers, and more from various Earths. The Direct was in attendance, and they were treated to both a hype reel teaser and a short behind-the-scenes set video for Avengers Doomsday. They also had the directors, Joe and Anthony Russo, take a break from filming to say hello from London to the fans with a video message. The message was interrupted by an exuberant Paul Rudd, who stressed the scale of the production and teased the roster, and fans got a glimpse of an teaser video shown during the presentation. The teaser was a rapid montage interspersed with video from the now infamous Chair Watch and footage and dialogue spotlighting the Avengers Doomsday's confirmed characters and actors from appearances in their previous Marvel movies. The montage, which served as a powerful reminder of the MCU's rich history and diverse team of heroes that Doomsday is assembling, began with Thor's rallying cry from Thor Love and Thunder, "We could pull together the greatest team ever," followed by Sam Wilson's Captain America line, "If we can't see the good in each other, we've already lost the fight." Shuri's declaration, "Now is our time to strike," transitioned into Ant-Man's memorable promise, a line from Scott Lang's in-universe memoir, Look Out for the Little Guy, which says, "Will I be there when the Avengers need me? Absolutely." continuing to build momentum with more inspiring dialogue. Thunderbolt star Yelena vowed, "We stick together from now on," adding a sense of family and loyalty. Joaquin Torres's Falcon expressed his readiness with, "That pressure, that responsibility, I want that too." Red Guardian added a touch of optimism, stating, "This has the makings of a team that can bring light from the darkness." And Loki provided a reflection from the titular Disney Plus series, "Raising things to the ground is easy. Trying to fix what's broken is hard." Then we got some X-Men tidbits. Professor X's warning from X-Men X2, X-Men United. There are forces in this world, both mutant and human alike, who believe that a war is coming. Cyclops from 2000's X-Men. "If anything happens, I'll take care of them." The Fantastic Four's Mr. Fantastic affirmed, "Today, we are your defenders. We will protect you." And the sequence culminated in another empowering call from Shuri's "Ya Bombay," evoking the spirit of Wakanda and uniting the ensemble in a visual symphony of past triumphs and future battles. I don't know about you, but I just got some real chills.
Got some goosebumps.
Say whatever you want about these past phases. These characters matter to a lot of people, and it seems like we are in for the ride of our life based on these excerpts, this little sizzle. I'm so glad they gave us to us in word form. How does this make you feel? And what does this mean by the words that they chose?
Yeah.
I know it's a lot.
It gave me a lot of goosebumps feelings because we haven't had those goosebumps. Like, MCU's been fun, but we haven't had those goosebumps from an Avenger film in a long time. And for them to have all these characters that we've been following along, we know where they're going, we know what they're doing, interacting in a montagey way, it makes the movie feel like it's an uphill battle for them, right? It's a lot of we have to overcome this great bad thing that we have to go to. We have to do it together, and they have to hype each other up. Like, this is all the stuff we did, but what we're about to do now is more important, and that makes me super duper excited for Doomsday.
Yeah, I totally agree. Just reading it out loud kind of reaffirms that something big is coming, and when something big comes and these characters get together, it is a comic book nerd's dream come true.
Yep.
Because, and I've said this on past shows, when you're a kid, what sticks out to you is the team ups, is this character interacting with this character, these characters fighting together, these characters fighting against each other. That is what makes for such awesome viewing. And this feels like what we're getting, even interspersing past X-Men lines that we have grown to love and remember. And so it just makes you so excited that we're finally getting back to the things that we love about these team-up movies. And say what you will about the movies in the past few phases, the characters were never the issue. The characters were awesome. The castings were awesome. And to see them all in one movie together is a treat to be beholden that we're finally getting closer to. So shut your mouths, because we're going to get there. And it looks like it's going to be a hell of a time.
Yeah.
So on top of that, as stated previously, Mr. Joe and Anthony Russo graced us with their presence on set and greeted the D23 fans directly from London. They said, "Hi, D23 members. This is Joe and Anthony Russo." They should have said, "Hello, true believers." Right now, we are in London shooting Marvel's Avengers Doomsday. This movie is, to say the least, a big one for us. It is bigger than anything we have ever done. We are bringing together so many of your favorite heroes to face one of the greatest threats in the MCU. Paul Rudd stumbles onto the screen, jokes about can't finding his contacts, and says, "We're surrounded by jaw-dropping sets and some truly incredible talent. Many of you just saw tease in that great video. Bringing this story to the big screen means the world to us, and we couldn't be happier and more excited." Whew! This is them. Where are you? Get on there, guys. So they came on to grace us with their presence. I want to point out something to you. I don't know if you've seen this. The shirt that Paul Rudd is wearing is the exact same shirt that he's wearing at the end of Ant-Man Quantumania. When he is speaking to himself, we defeated Kang, right? Everything's fine. But what if we didn't? And what if this, I'll worry about it some other time. And and that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
This right here, my friend, from eagle-eyed viewers, is the exact same costume that he's wearing. My question to you, one, how does it make you feel hearing that this is the biggest movie they ever worked on, which it better be? How does that make you feel? And then two, what do you think that means that he's wearing the exact same shirt at the end of Ant-Man 3?
Yeah. It definitely has to be the biggest film they've worked on because it's the most important Avengers film. Right now, the MCU is on a downturn where it's slowly but surely maybe going the way of the Western with the way the interest has been and how the fans are starting to turn on it and the box office and everything like that. So they really need a big win. They need something to bring all these storylines that we've gotten over the last, I don't know, it's 5 years to come ahead and really make sense and make us fall in love with all these characters and their dynamics. The way that the first Avengers did, right? Like Thor 1 was not received like an amazing film. Same thing with First Avenger. Same thing with even like the Hulk. But the Avengers made us fall in love with all these characters and their dynamics and excited to see them again. So they got to do that with all these new characters in this movie while closing up storylines, while introducing Doom. And it makes me excited that they said this is the biggest movie they've ever done because it has to be. It has to be a 3-hour epic of epic proportions. This can't have a 2-hour mandate. That would be insane.
They have no choice.
They have no choice. Both movies need to be 3.5 hours. And I'm sitting there for all of it.
Multiple times.
Yeah. Quantumania, I expected that this was going to be an Ant-Man and the Wasp situation where he's stuck in another universe.
Poor guy.
Yeah, poor guy. Like he got stuck in the quantum realm. He got out, and then I feel like he's stuck in an alternate universe that he went to. That's why things felt weird and off to him when he got there. And it's going to be slightly different. Maybe he's in the X-Men universe, just like Monica Rambeau is.
I love that.
And then the point we see him in is straight from the end of Quantumania. He's wearing the same shirt. He runs into the X-Men, or he runs into a separate team that they maybe want to do from a different universe. Who knows? Maybe they pull him in. We see Nicolas Cage show up as Ghost Rider. Who knows? But I don't think he's going to be in the 616. I think he's going to be somewhere else. So then when he finds his way back home, he's wearing the same clothes because he don't got no money, he ain't got no home to go to. So I think that's what's going to be happening here. I think they're going to pull another Ant-Man is off somewhere else. He's going to find his way back, and he's going to do something very important that helps everyone, just like he did in Endgame.
I think you're right. I think this, and especially him being the one to come out with the Russo brothers, I think it's also telling the fans like Ant-Man plays a very important role in this movie. So Get ready for more Paul Rudd, which who doesn't love more Paul Rudd and more Baskin Robbins? So I'm excited. this sounds awesome. You know, they gave us some good tidbits, but they can't give us too much. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they really can't. Everything is under wraps. They're filming right now. They're changing it as they're going along. And so
Yeah.
they gave us what they could, but even that little sizzle with the, you know, the lines from the past characters, it makes your hair stand on end because it reminds you, like, this is what we love getting to, you know, whether, you know, what does Professor X say, you know, whether you are lost or stumble upon the way, you're not, you know, like whatever, like that line, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like he says in Multiverse of Madness also. So I really think no matter what you think about the state of the MCU or the past movies or whatever you think, this is something to get excited for. This is something to show out for. And I don't think they're going to miss on this one because they can't, because everything relies on this movie.
Yep.
And if it's not a $1.5 billion movie, oh man, who knows what's going to happen with Secret Wars?
Yeah, it's gonna be rough.
Yeah. So we'll see. Let us know your guys' thoughts. I know this was a lot, but what do you think about that little teaser with the past voices, the new logo, the Russo brothers saying this is the biggest movie of all time that they've ever done, which they've done a lot of big movies? Drop a comment below. Let us know what you think. All right, guys. Let's get into some Star Wars because we got a little bit of the Mandalorian Grogu. They didn't give us too much, which I was surprised because we are getting, you know, closer. It's coming out next summer, but they did give like a little bit of a teaser. And so this actually comes to us from MSN. They say the debut footage for Star Wars movie in the first Star Wars movie in the past 7 years has now been seen by fans. Lucasfilm and Disney have revealed the look at the Mandalorian and the Grogu. The Star Wars film spun off from Disney Plus's The Mandalorian TV series. And the action-heavy footage, the audience sees stormtroopers inside an AT-AT, or AT-AT is what it's called, preparing to engage in battle. The Mandalorian then sweeps through and takes out over a dozen of them, breaking into the vehicle's cockpit to take them all down. When they see a mysterious character played by Sigourney Weaver speaking to Mando and Grogu to ask him if Mando works for her, several grandly staged battle scenes followed, with even a scene of Grogu using his powers. The footage concluded with a brief look at Jeremy Allen White as Rota the Hutt, the son of Jabba the Hutt, raising his hands in triumph, which we've seen that picture before.
Yeah.
Mandalorian creator Jon Favreau directs and co-writes the film alongside Dave Filoni. Stars Pedro Pascal and Weaver joined filmmaker Favreau on stage. I believe this was at the event in Japan where they joined them on stage. And then Favreau spoke with the significance of holding the first event for the Mandalorian Grogu in Japan. So I guess this wasn't D23, but they said, when I think about Star Wars and what inspired Star Wars, it's so inextricably tied to Japanese cinema, Japanese culture, and tradition. George Lucas was very inspired by the filmmakers of Japan, and to come back here, it feels like a homecoming. And so this was my mistake, I guess. This was the MSNBC. They started more with their stage on Japanese's Star Wars celebration. And they did, and so neither Favreau nor Filoni said much publicly about the film, but last year at D23, Favreau said on the carpet to come back together and have the scale and scope of the big screen to tell the story with characters people already know in a brand new adventure that can part of what we've set out I'm not going to read this because this is not from D23. My apologies. So I'm really surprised. They really tricked me. So I guess there wasn't too much. I guess they showed some footage from the Mandalorian Grogu, but in general, what do you think about the Mandalorian Grogu? Were you a Mandalorian fan? And are you excited about this movie coming to the big screen?
Yeah, I'm 1000% excited. I love The Mandalorian. I'm a fan of all the seasons. Obviously, there are varying quality degrees and things like that, but I love all the seasons despite some of the dips and falls in each of them. I love the characters, and I'm excited to see these films get the movie quality. We haven't had a Star Wars movies in years. It's been such a long time since we've seen this franchise on the big screen, and I'm excited to see this movie kind of start tying all the shows together. Obviously not Andor, but like all the rest of the shows. I'm excited to see all those storylines come together, and Mando leading the way, and Grogu maybe growing a bit as a character, and getting in some of the action more and becoming iconic on the screen. I think for us TV fans,
this is my Grogu.
Yeah, and for us Star Wars fans, Grogu is a G. But I feel like there's a lot of people that haven't seen The Mandalorian that doesn't know how awesome the character is. So I'm super excited to get back in. I think Star Wars doesn't need to be an annual franchise, especially if you're telling the same story. I do think there need to be years in between. It just can't handle being annual. But if we get a different Star Wars story every year, like we get Mando and Grogu, and then we get Starfighter the following year, and then maybe get the Rey movie, and then get Mando and Grogu too, I'm totally down.
Yeah. You know, I, like you, really enjoyed season 1 and season 2 of The Mandalorian. I think it is extremely great storytelling that we had been missing for Star Wars for a very long time. And so I love those first 2 seasons. The third season did a lot of things that felt very convoluted, very out of pocket, not in place of what we've come to love from the first 2. And so I think there was a lot of missteps. I have mixed feelings on bringing a TV series to the big screen, especially when it will be the first Star Wars movie that we've gotten since The Last Jedi. And so The Last Jedi, right?
No, Rise of Skywalker.
Oh god, The Rise of Skywalker.
He's like, I forgot it. That movie
I just skipped that one completely. Wow. Whoops. I guess people won't be mad about that. So I think it's interesting to start with that. I think they think it's a safe bet because, you know, Grogu and Baby Yoda was such a big phenomenon, and it made people fall in love with Star Wars again. And the first 2 seasons were so beloved. But I think when you had that big of a misstep in season 3, to go from a misstep to be like, let's put it in the theaters, I don't know if you're going to get the big audience that you want and you need when you're putting like a Star Wars budget, you know, into play. I think the demand for the audience needs to be there. And I don't know if you have that, because even a lot of my Star Wars friends, like, they were very soured by the season 3 of Mandalorian. And so to be soured by season 3 and then to put it in theaters, I think maybe you could have waited a little bit, and then to not have a Star Wars movie in theaters for a long time and start with this, I think it's kind of interesting. If you went the Starfighter route first and that was like awesome, and then you have this momentum, and say season 4, you did a little bit shorter, but it was awesome, and it led into what you would see in the movies for Mandalorian and Grogu, I think that would have been a better way to do it. So, but I'm interested because I really love the Mandalorian as a character. I think that added such great lore to Star Wars that we haven't gotten in this Skywalker saga in a very long time. And so I love the Mandalorian as a character, and I love Grogu as a character. So I'm really excited. Just an update. They just showed some new footage at D23. There wasn't any crazy announcements or anything like that. Zeb from Rebels is going to feature in it. I don't know how heavily, but They showed more Zeb footage, so I'm excited about that because I really love Rebels. So I'm mixed about it, but you best believe if you're a Star Wars fan, no matter what they put out, we will be there. We will be in the theater. So
Of course.
we can complain and moan all we want, but in the end, we're going to the theater and we're
Once
seeing
that trailer drops, and if the trailer's knocking, all that other stuff might not even matter anymore, right? Like if the trailer comes out and looks amazing and the whatever plot that they're going to tell us looks interesting, then we're all going to be locked in. Even the people who didn't watch The Mandalorian, they'll catch up.
Yeah, 100%. And to, Collector's point in the chat, when you have something like Andor, which is just the best storytelling Star Wars has done in almost 40 years, and it's such like heightened level of storytelling and cinematic expression on screen, and it was just insanely well done.
Yeah.
And then you're like, let's go back to Mandalorian and Grogu. It feels like interesting because now we know how good you can do Star Wars, that it's interesting to me that they think Mandalorian Grogu is the safe bet. And I know the audience for Mandalorian Grogu is a lot bigger than Andor, especially it's not fair to Andor because a lot of that audience got lost from the misfires from Star Wars. But when you've seen the quality of Andor, it's just like, man, if you did something in the vein of that, say like a World War II type movie or something like that within the Star Wars lore, way far away from Skywalker saga, I think that would be really cool. And so it seems like with Starfighter, it's more in the Skywalker era still.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are just some thoughts of what I find interesting about like using this as their first on-screen presence again, but it doesn't mean I'm not excited. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like for me, I'm not a huge Andor person. Like
Have you seen both seasons?
I saw the first season. After seeing the first season, I wasn't really excited to get to the second season.
Interesting. Too
I
slow?
think it's
Okay.
and I watch slow shows, but if it wasn't even, no, it's not even slow. Just, I felt like a lot of episodes, nothing was happening. Like nothing was happening for me. And the jail episode, I think the last 3 episodes are great. The first episode is good, but then everything in between that, I was just like, I don't care about any of this stuff.
I get that.
So I think maybe if they crunch all that into a 2-hour film, it would have been amazing, right? Like if you crunch all the good parts of Andor into a 2-hour film from season 1, and I haven't seen season 2, so I'm not sure the quality of that. I'm sure it still looks great. I think that would have been an amazing movie. So I can agree if they would have done like a World War II, or just like create a new type of war, and stay away from the Jedis, or maybe you have a brand new Jedi that's here, but add some new elements to it and focus on that kind of style of storytelling, like an All Quiet on the Western Front, but Star Wars. I think that could have been amazing. But I think
Exactly.
I'm not the only person that feels that Andor is kind of boring. I've talked to other casual people that can't really get into it, so I see why maybe, even though that show's heralded, why they would go with Mandalorian, because that show is more popular, so you can make a popular kind of movie with it.
I herald Andor. Yeah, no, I can see where you're coming from, and I respect it, and I understand it. I do have to say though, I need you to do me a favor. Watch just one episode. It's episode 8, I believe, of Andor season 2.
Okay.
Let me double check. Andor episode 8, I believe. This episode is reminiscent. Please, is it episode 8? Do I still got it? Yes, I got it. I still got it. 9.7 on IMDb. Just watch this. You don't need to see the stuff before. I promise you, you will be like, okay, it's not going to make me watch it, but that was a good episode, because it feels like the Nazi invasion of France. It feels so of our world, but in the Star Wars universe at the same time. There's a lot going on. It is not boring. It is wild, actually. And I think you will really like it. So please
Gotcha.
do it for me. Just that one episode and then be done with it. Okay. Okay. Like, I think you will at least be like, you know what? That episode was good. I wish the series was more like that. I hope is what you say.
Mm,
I think is what you'll say, but I
gotcha.
understand. So here comes Mandalorian Grogu. Here we go. So it's coming. They're showing more footage. We'll probably see a trailer soon, I imagine. And yeah, let us know your thoughts. Are you guys excited about Mandalorian Grogu? Do you think this is the right move for the first Star Wars movie in theaters since the Skywalker saga? Drop a comment below. All right, guys, we're almost out of here, but I want to talk about this because when Zootopia 1 came out, it really took the world by storm. It is a $1 billion film.
Yep.
And it is such an intelligent movie. And for the longest time, we heard these rumblings that we were going to get a sequel to the movie. And we were wondering, you know, what could a sequel to Zootopia 2 be about? Well, D23 finally gave us some tidbits about what Zootopia could be about. And this comes to us from Mashable. Mashable is awesome, by the way. They have really, really good articles if you guys haven't read it. So the D23 audience got some first looks, I guess. I mean, we've seen some behind the scenes, but they got some looks about what Zootopia is going to be about, even though we got that trailer probably about a month ago or so. But they gave an opening scene tease that spelled a little bit of trouble for Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde. Disney revealed more details about the upcoming Zootopia 2. And they showed a little scene of the police partners, Judy Hopps, voiced by Jennifer Goodwin, and Nick Wilde, voiced by the great Jason Bateman, who get in a car chase that goes horribly wrong, which doesn't bode well for their new partnership. The film also adds new two cast members, Patrick Warburton, who will voice Zootopia Mayor Winddancer, and Yvette Nicole Brown, who will voice Baroness Bear and an EMT Otter. So I just want to gauge your excitement. What do you feel about Zootopia 2 and what you've seen, you know, from the trailer and from the stills that we've been seeing? Yeah. And how well do you think this bad boy is going to do?
Oh man, it's going to be very interesting because I love the first Zootopia so much. Like you said, it took the world by storm, similar to how Inside Out took the world by storm. And because it had a really strong meaning, really great characters, and I don't know where they really go from here to really recapture that and not just kind of do the same thing over. That is hilarious. So I'm very interested to see what the actual plot, how it plays out. I'm excited for the film because I love the first one, but I'm kind of cautiously optimistic about it as well because I'm not seeing the pathway for the movie to be on the same quality story wise.
Yeah, I think the first film was it was so intelligent. It had dealt so much with like race and ethnicity and class and all these way deeper meanings in such an intelligent, sometimes scary, sometimes sad, sometimes funny way. And so to replicate that is not an easy task to do. The way that the trailer that we saw opened up with basically, you know, our two lead heroes in therapy and kind of showing that a fox and a rabbit, whether they got along in the first movie or not, they are natural enemies. And it doesn't mean that everything's going to be hunky-dory just because they found this profound respect and love for each other. And so I really think that way in and showing that by opening like in like basically a couple's like therapy was
Yeah.
a really cool way to be like, oh, like there's still a lot more work done to do in this relationship, is a
Yeah.
great way to show us a little bit of what this movie could be about. As for the overall like story arc or plot, I think they're kind of leaving us in the dark, because hopefully they do have like a good way in. But with you, I am curious, because the first one was so good, because it was such a surprise hit, one that Disney Animation really needed. And it was like $1 billion film that just blew up around the world. And you know, with the DMV scene, you know, these
Oh,
scenes are like now kind of like in the zeitgeist in a lot of
yeah.
ways. And so to follow it up, you must have a really good in. And like you, I'm like, you're teasing it, so I don't see it, but I really want to know, like, what is it? Because it needs to be as good as the first one, or else don't do it at all, in my opinion.
And it's not only did it make $1 billion, it's an Oscar-winning film as well. So
Yes,
like,
my
it
bad.
has a lot to hold up. You want this film to not only make another $1 billion, because you always want your sequel to make more than the first one, but also you want it to get awards, because the first one did. So it has a lot to hold up in terms of success, but also what the fans are expecting who love the first one.
100%. Yeah, 100%. No, I agree. It was beloved by fans, by critics, awards. Like, it's such a big movie at that time. And
Yeah.
so if you're doing a sequel, it needs to be just as good, if not better. And that's a big hill to climb with such a classic animated film of the past decade. So we shall see. We shall see what's going to happen. I'm just going to sing like I'm in an animated movie myself. Okay. We're going to get out of here. We've talked so much. You know, I was going to talk a little bit about another Disney animated movie that they announced. It's called Hexed. Have you heard about this movie?
I've heard of it, but I don't know full details about it.
Okay, so they didn't give us too much, but before we get out of here, I'll just give you a little bit of detail about what they said. So Walt Disney Animation announced its next original film, Hex, set for release on November 25th, 2026. The film centers on an oddball teenager and his mother. When the pair discovers the teenager's weirdness is actually hidden magic, they're transported to a brand new magical world. So the magical powers that will turn their lives in a secret world of magic upside down. What do you think about this description of Hex?
It sounds like a story that we've heard before.
Yeah, Harry Potter, dude.
Yeah. Something that has been done multiple times. I'm interested to see how they can do maybe a unique take.
Mhm.
Also, I'm excited because we're having a comeback of traditional monsters and characters coming back.
Right.
You know, we're getting a lot more werewolf movies. We're getting more vampire movies. We're hopefully going to be getting more zombie films back in theaters. And Frankenstein is going to be in theaters. So witches need to make a comeback too. You know, Hocus Pocus 2 wasn't the big hit that they expected.
I loved it.
Yeah, but a lot of people loved it. And they're going to make it the third one. But we haven't had like a witch, magician, warlock film.
Right, that stands on its own. Like,
stands on its own, yeah. That's not part of a universe or something like that. Like, obviously, we had Scarlet Witch holding it down for like 10 years. But I'm interested to see them do an original title, not based off a book like Harry Potter is based off something, and kind of build their own lore and get fans, like young fans, interested in a new project like this that has witches in it. I'm down for that.
I agree. You know, I am a sucker for magical worlds, wizards and warlocks and fantasy in those regards. And so when I heard about Hex, it really piqued my interest because I haven't seen, you know, a movie like that, like you said, in a really long time that stands on its own, that is its own new property. And for the longest time, you know, like Black Cauldron, you know, The Sword and the Stone, you know, we grew up on these fantasy animated films that are just like classics. And so I really think Hexed should be a movie that gets us back to those kind of animated fantasy films. And so that's my hopes for it. Is it going to be that? I have no idea. But that is really my mindset, is like, please let it be that kind of film that has its own magical lore, that has this world building that feels like it's lived in, and has this magic that has its own rules that you guys made. That is really what I want from the film. And so that is what I'm hoping for. So please, Disney, give us a good fantasy animated film and let that animation speak for itself, because the animation is also what I'm curious about as well, because this title's the only thing that they gave us, and it's looking a little bit Jack and the Beanstalky to me.
Oh yeah, that's a good call out. It does.
All right, well, that was it. Let us know if we missed anything. Is there anything that you think I missed for the announcements?
No, I don't think there's any. I don't know if this is a part of Disney. I don't know if this is a Fox thing. They did announce the Scarface remake.
Yeah,
and Danny Ramirez.
Yeah,
Danny Ramirez is playing it, the new Falcon. So I'm interested to see how that goes and how people feel about that. I think he's a really good actor. So this is a chance for him to really show range, because you got to go crazy for Scarface.
100%.
So I think that's pretty cool.
I agree. As soon as I saw the casting, I'm like, man, I like him, but he hasn't done something I've seen remotely like this.
Yeah.
So he needs to absolutely crush it, because if he does, because he's already a hot commodity, he's getting the roles, he's dating. Who was he dating? He was dating like some hot actress. I forgot who it was. No. But I'm just like, dang, dude, this guy is just winning on all levels. This is the opportunity to show, like, I am a serious actor in the game. And so I think you're right. This is a vehicle where it's like, it can show his real acting chops. And so I hope that's what it is. Before we get out of here, I had a surprise question I told you about that I want to ask you. And I saw this and I immediately thought of you. And it's a beloved character of mine that I grew up with on an animated series. Dun dun dun. Earlier this week, earlier last week on the red carpet of Peacemaker, James Gunn was asked about a character called Static Shock. And he basically gave an answer saying he's having a hard time with this character, wondering where it could fit in this new DCU world. Not that it's a character we won't see. He definitely loves the character and wants to incorporate him, but he's having a little bit of time struggling with breaking the story of how Static Shock can fit in this new world. With me personally, I am a beloved Virgil Hawkins fan, and I love Static Shock. I used to imagine my skateboard was the circular hover disc that he would fly on. Like, as a kid, like, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I really, really enjoyed the character and always wanted to see him in a live action movie. So I was curious when I heard these comments, and I wanted to ask you, Zach, one, what do you think about these comments from James Gunn? And two, how do you envision Static Shock fitting in this new DCU?
So when I heard the comments, it made me feel that maybe Zaslav is pulling the strings a little tighter on Gunn than I thought.
Okay.
Because the first time he talked about Static, he talked about how the financial and right situations why it's hard for us to make the project. Now he's talking about how it's hard for him to see how he fits in, which makes no sense to me. There's nothing to fit in yet. The universe just started. Obviously, he has his plan, but it's Static. It's a popular character. You just make his movie, you add him to the Titans, and you keep moving forward.
Exactly.
So I think Zaslav was like, you can't make the public know that we don't have full control over everything. Say that is a creative thing that you're working on. And I think in the background, they're going to try to figure out how to get the Duffers estate to get them to make this movie. And this because they were going to make an animated show, a movie, and then they were also
The
working
Duffer
on
Brothers?
not Duffer Brothers. McDuffie, sorry. The
McDuffie.
creator of the Milestone universe. His family owns.
Okay.
Sorry, not
I'm
Duffer
like,
Brothers.
damn, the Duffer Brothers, that'd be sick.
No, yeah, they just got poached by Paramount. So
I know. I'm like, they're gonna be busy with Paramount stuff.
Yeah, so they're trying to get their family to agree because it's always like a financial thing of like how much do we get and things like that, and that's what it is. And I'm the fitting in part makes no sense to me. He is the Spider-Man of the DC universe.
Yeah,
easily. And we saw it in the Static Shock show when he interacted with other heroes. We saw it in comics. We see it all the time. He has the potential to be the Spider-Man level character for DC, which they do not have. Batman is their biggest character, but he's not. Spider-Man occupies a space that Batman just can't fit into. If they can have a Spider-Man and a Batman in one universe, DC will be set forever. So they need to, and he has a great rogues gallery. He has a great look. He has a unique use of his electrical powers. He has a built-in kind of X-Men lore with the Big Bang. There's so much you can do with Static and Virgil.
Yeah.
And he's like the epitome of cool. So you find whatever fashion that's going on right now and incorporate that and the music into it. And you get like a stylish film that kids will love. And then the millennials like us are going to be tapped into because we love the character.
Yeah, 100%.
So the fit doesn't make sense, but I know it's the financial aspect. I think it's just the rights issue with the McDuffie estate not wanting to probably give up too much. They probably want a majority of like how this is going to work and the creative decisions behind it. And James Gunn is probably like, no, I need this to be done the way I need to be done. So I think that's what it is.
Zaslav being cheap or being racist?
A little bit of both. A little bit of both. Because some people who work with Warner Brothers said that a lot of the DEI departments have been getting rid of since he took it.
I saw that.
So I think it's a little bit of both when it comes to him. A little cheap and a little racist because they also, he's preparing Warner Brothers to be bought. So he's probably want to cut every corner that he possibly can to make the evaluation good. Apparently, they've been trying to sell it to Paramount for a long time. I hope that does not happen because that's way too many big properties under one umbrella.
Yeah,
I need it at all. But yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a little bit of a little racist, a little bit of a cheap situation going on. But they got to figure it out. It's a missed opportunity not to have Static.
I really do, and I think it. Just start putting him in, dude. What do you mean? Like, what do you think it's hard? Like. The DCU's looking a little white, bro. Like really, really white. I'm sorry. Like having Mr. Terrific and having Hawkgirl, like it doesn't cut it. I'm like, that's not the world that that's
how the MCU started.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like you have an opportunity here, and it's not like your race bending roles. This is an established Black superhero that people, especially millennials, have grown with in love. And so it's like it's right there to use. And then to see him in live action with those powers, I just think it'd be so incredible. And then his relationship with his best friend, I forgot his name, but the white
see his
dude,
face. I forget his name,
which is great, which is a great way to show you I'm calling, Virgil Hawkins by his name, and I'm calling the white dude. It's like right there. It's like, you're getting too white with the DCU. And I think this is an important character to have in there, especially for a younger audience. If you're trying to get all four quadrants, like this is your Miles Morales. This is really someone that you could have be that younger, superhero that kids can see themselves in and look up to, especially kids of color. It's right there for the taking.
They got to get it out before Miles' live action. They have to get him.
You need a beat.
Miles also have electrical powers as well. It's very similar in terms.
Is that
of
why they did it? Added the electrical powers as like
for Miles, the uproot Static. I can see that. They're very petty that way.
They are petty. So I wanted to pick your brain because I was like, wow, like I don't like hearing that. Like, no,
Yeah.
no.
It's top
And Big
priority.
Sean was on the red carpet with him. He was like, I like Static. I'm like, damn, this guy's cool. Like, he's a comic book nerd. I did not know that about Big Sean.
I didn't know it either. Yeah.
So I was like, damn, I could see if Big Sean is trying to champion that, please continue, because
he's also a champion gargoyles.
Yes.
He's trying to get
we were supposed to be getting a live action Gargoyles. What the heck?
I don't know what's going on. I know
they
Disney
announced that like a year ago, remember?
Yeah.
Live
I don't know what's going on.
Let me see. Live action. I love Gargoyles, man.
Me too.
Is really great storytelling to be had there. Like
Yep.
really, really, really good storytelling to be had. And then Disney's live action gets Disney's live action Gargoyles reboot gets long awaited update. The Gargoyles Awakening on Disney Plus 2023 is reported that the streamer was developing a live action reboot. Blah blah blah. So, according to Gary Dauberman, the writer, executive producer, and showrunner of the live action Gargoyles reboot, Disney is still chiseling away at getting the series off the ground. He says, I feel like we have the animated series already. The cartoon is so good. He was telling Comic Book in an interview pegged to the Until Dawn movie. He said, it's so good. That's what we fell in love with. I think it lends itself to a really cool live action version. Adapting Gargoyles for live action will be challenging, but Dauberman says, talking to some great people, we're still keeping that darkness to it. I'm excited to see the animated series come to life. I think Disney would kill me if I talked about any further. I'm such a fan of the show, and there's so much good in it. Dauberman said a screenwriter who has adapted the works of author Stephen King, the It films, and 2024 Salem's Lot remake, and PlayStation's Until Dawn. Okay, this is just what he's done. So
yeah,
not too much. That's sad, bro. I really want to see a live action Gargoyle.
Yeah, there's so much space for these kind of things.
And I'd be down for a series too. That'd be sick.
A live action series would be amazing. Probably too expensive to bring those characters alive and make them look great.
That'd be a lot.
I'm all in on Gargoyles coming back. I know Jordan Peele was also trying to get it off the ground.
That would be insane. Direct it.
Oh my god!
I want a Jordan Peele like
franchise thing.
Franchise, yeah, other person's franchise, like to him take over, because with like Akira and like all this different stuff, like, or like he was maybe gonna do Blade, like random stuff. I'm like, just give him a franchise and let him do his thing.
It's a lot of maybes. Like, oh, he almost did X-Men, but it went to Jack. What's his name? The guy who did Thunderbolts.
Schreier,
he was going to do this, and he's always going to do this, but then it falls through. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, I'm excited for him to get to take that jump, because even for like somebody like Christopher Nolan, it wasn't until he did Batman that jump happened.
Yeah,
and now Matt Reeves made great films before, but Batman really made him a household name. So he
100%. I want him to have something big. Like he needs it to really show people, like, because for the longest, actually, no, that's no more Coogler to me, back in the day before Sinners, I was like, oh, he is the next Spielberg to me. Like he is something, but I really think Coogler is the next Christopher Nolan, and I think Jordan Peele could be like a Spielberg type director.
Yeah,
is how I view it, and not the black Spielberg. I hate that stuff. No, just the next Spielberg, bro, and just the next Christopher Nolan. That's all you need to do. You don't need to add anything else to it. Well, yeah, so that's why I wanted to pick your brain about Static Shock, because I love that character, and those comments just kind of rub me the wrong way, to be honest, and I really hate when they do that to, especially superheroes of color. I think they do that a lot too, is they have these excuses that it's too hard, and it's just like, bro, there is the audience out there, and there is and there's a lot of lore you can play with, so if it's a rights issue, say it's a rights issue.
Yeah.
Don't come up with excuses like, we don't know how to fit him in this universe. It's like, I could have definitely seen him in Peacemaker, in not a rated R way, but in Superman, in an animated part, in Creature Commandos. Like, don't tell me that. Just don't have excuses, bro.
Like, if y'all could find a way to get somebody to want to do Eternals, which no one was talking about at all, you can get someone to do Static.
Like, if you can make Mr. Terrific work for the general audience, which is a lot of people's favorite character from that movie, you can make Static Shock work in someone else's movie first and then give him his own movie.
Yeah.
So
1000%.
I don't want to hear those excuses. And oh man, I want to keep going because there's another question I've been hearing too, which is like, James Gunn, he talks a lot, he gives a lot, and it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Is he talking too much? And is he talking out of his neck a lot of the time?
Yeah. Yeah. I've been saying this before we saw anything from Superman. I was like, he's talking too much. And then he said, "Oh, I'm going to pull back a bit because it was becoming too much." But he's still talking a lot. And he's still talking a lot. And there's a reason why, like, there was a mystique with the MCU because Kevin Feige only needed to speak when it needed to happen. Obviously, he doesn't need to be Kevin Feige or whatever, because some things he does that's good is that he stops like hype trains before they get too hype, and then people expect certain things to happen, and he goes, "That's not happening."
Or he talks on the red carpet only when there's something coming out, and that's it. For Feige, like, talk on the red carpet, but other than that, you guys can speculate. I'm just gonna do my thing.
Yeah, and it seems like Gunn doesn't want people to speculate, and I'm like, you gotta let us speculate. You gotta let us have fun with this. That's part of the fun of having that in between time between movies, us speculating, having fun. Oh my god, what's gonna happen? Who's it? But every time something happens, you shut it down. It comes like, okay, I guess I'll just wait for the movie, and I won't talk about your product at all.
Yeah, so I agree, and I think it lends to a bigger discussion. We can let's see what comes in the next 2 weeks, because he's going to open his mouth again. But I think we should definitely get into it because, I really think it's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, I'm like, great, that's so refreshing that a studio head is like all open and honest and giving us these tidbits that someone else wouldn't give us. And then on the other hand, I'm like, he's giving us so much that a lot of it is not coming to fruition, or a lot of it is being harder to believe at this point, or harder to trust him at this point, or just keep it to yourself at this point, that it's coming off as like too much. So it's very interesting that we haven't seen from a head of the studio ever. You know what I mean? So I can't wait to get more into that with you, because you best believe in the next 2 weeks,
something's going to happen.
We're going to get a lot more stuff from his mouth. So we'll see. We'll see. Still love him. I've been watching Superman a lot. Love that movie. So we shall see. But my brother, thank you so much for being here. This was so awesome. Tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on social media at Zack Attack RVS. You can find me on YouTube at Zack Attack Reviews. I have a review for Caught Stealing out right now. I am going to be checking what's coming out next week.
Man, a lot. I mean, September is a huge month for movies, by the way. Like, I was looking at September, or like, oh, it's in like TV show. Like, this is when a lot of things are going to start. So there's going to be a lot of good things to talk about for sure.
A lot of things coming out. So yeah, whatever movie's coming out next Friday that's big, I'm going to go see it and review it. I have to review Splitsville because that comes out September 5th. So that's soon. And I have to see it early. So I have my thumbnail ready. I have my script ready. So I just got to film it. That's going to be coming out soon. Just be on the lookout for that. And I have a weekly Tuesday live stream that I do as well. Called Film Club. Just join me for that as well. And every 2 weeks, you'll see me on the Evan edition. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you. Please go to Zack Attack Reviews. His stuff is so good. The people, I just watched one of his lives this week. The people that he has on his show have like great takes, and we keep iterating. The best part about this is not having the same takes or the same opinions. The best part about it is that it hits everyone differently, and let's have a conversation about it. And that's what I love about having Zach on my show, even though we love a lot of the same things, but also the takes that he has from the great guests that he has on his show and the host that he has on his show. It's just such good conversation. So please go and check it out. Please be a part of the conversation. Comment, subscribe, and like, and we will see you guys next time. Have a great rest of your Labor Day weekend. Take care, my friends.
It's the Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. It's the Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. It's the Evan edition.